Hello and welcome to Yota's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make baklava. In this little saucepan I have melting 3 sticks of butter. In this other saucepan I have 3 cups of water, 1 1/4 cups of sugar, 3 teaspoons of lemon juice, 10 cloves, that's what you see, little things floating in there, those are cloves, 1 cinnamon stick, and the rind of a lemon, about 2 to 3 inches. And that's going to come to a simmer for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and then I'm going to add 1 1/4 cups of honey, and I'm going to let that simmer for about 5-10 minutes after that, and I'm going to turn it off and let it cool. This syrup has to be cool or cold when we pour it over the baklava, which is going to come out of the oven hot. I already have my oven preheating to 300 degrees, and I put a pan of water in there to keep some moisture in the oven, and that's to prevent the phyllo dough from drying up and cracking while it's cooking. It won't come out as nice. So this is my pan. I believe it's an 11 by 15 by 2 inch. Of course, your pan might be a little different, so you can adjust how everything is laid out or how you build up your baklava. To this bowl, I have added 6 cups of chopped walnuts, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, and 2/3 cups of sugar. And we have 1 1/2 pounds of phyllo dough. And this is my equipment. I have a brush. I think it has camel hair. I find that this kind of brush is the best for pastry because it evenly distributes the butter, and it actually keeps the butter in its bristles. So when you take it from the saucepan and start applying it to the phyllo dough, it's not all over your stove too. Not to say that some won't drip on your stove and on your counter as you're transferring it, but those silicone brushes, really, I don't find them, I have several of them, and I don't find them doing as good of a job. I had to go and search for this, and I found this brush, and I bought another one too at Williams-Sonoma. A little costly, but you get good quality products. And then this is my pizza cutter. I use it to cut the phyllo because my phyllo is not an exact measurement to my pan. So I cut it and adjust it as necessary. So when I am ready to assemble the baklava, I will show you the next. Welcome back. I'm getting ready to brush my pan with butter. I'm just going to show you how I apply 1 or 2 sheets. And again, I did cut the phyllo dough to fit in my pan. Make sure you brush all corners or all sides. Okay, so that's done. I'm just going to show you 1 or 2 sheets. So here it is. Oops, sorry. I'm going this way. And then I cut the ends off, and I'm just using that for this end, and I'm going to switch back and forth so they're not all, let's say all these cut pieces are not all on this side, and I'm just going to continue that until I build up my phyllo. This feels like it's 2 pieces. It is, but it's, well, I successfully did it. I broke it up, meaning I separated it without breaking. Okay, so the phyllo is very forgiving, so if it breaks on you, just put it in there. Once it's all together, and cooked, nobody's going to be able to tell that your phyllo at some point broke on you. So see this? This is a broken piece. Doesn't matter. We're going to put in whatever broken pieces I have, and then we're going to just brush the phyllo dough. And we're going to just continue this until we have a half a pound, excuse me, yes, a half a pound in there. And when we get to about almost a half a pound, I'm going to start putting in my first walnuts. I'm going to probably put about 20 sheets, but again, because they're all broken up, I might not be able to tell right away, you know, how many sheets I put in there. But just before I finish this half pound, I will put my first layer of walnuts down. So I will see you when I get to that point. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to Yota's Kitchen. I have almost a half a pound of phyllo dough buttered and layered in this pan, and I'm ready to put the first layer of filling in here. So here it is, and I'm just going to pour it in and just make sure that it goes throughout the pan. So I just want to make sure that it's spread evenly and that you have a good amount of walnuts throughout the pan, because you want each piece to have a good amount of walnuts. So there's no open spaces. Okay, so I'm just going to continue layering, and once I am just about done, I'll come back and I'll show you the rest of what I'm doing. So until then, thank you. Hello and welcome back to Yota's Kitchen. I finished assembling my baklava. So I put all the ingredients that I had spoken of in the beginning of this video in here, and I'm ready to cut it. It has to be cut before it's put in the oven, because otherwise you're going to have a hard time cutting it after. So remember always to cut it. And how I cut it and try to keep it as even as I can is by finding the center of my pan right here, and then just cutting a line down, trying to stay as even or straight as you can, and making sure that you're cutting all the way down. You don't want to have a hard time cutting it afterward. It's a little crooked, but that's okay. Once it's baked and people are eating your baklava, nobody's really going to notice that it's not perfectly straight. It's the knife. It gives a little pull, but I like to use a serrated knife because it cuts through the walnuts and it cuts through the phyllo dough a little better. It doesn't pull it. Okay, so now I made 4 squares, and we're going to find the center here, and we're going to cut it again, and then we're going to find the center here and cut it again. Okay, so once that's done, you turn your pan around and you cut it again. So here it is. Just making sure that it's cut all the way through, and it is. And then you make your last cut for your squares. You also have to cut it diagonally. And so here it goes. Find your corner, and then cut all the way through. Until you have all the pieces cut. Okay, almost there. Doesn't have to be perfect, because once it's cooked, nobody's really going to pay attention to it. Okay, last piece. There you go. It's ready to be put in the oven. I have my oven preheating to 300. I put a pan of water in there just to, again, keep that moisture in there because I want the phyllo not to get too dry and too brittle. I'm going to have it in there for about an hour. In an hour, I will check it to make sure that it's cooking nicely. At that point, I will see if I need a few more minutes or a little bit, you know, if it's ready. You know, it's not going to be any less. So it's 1 hour. If I feel that it needs to be more, I'll keep it in there a little longer. But check it after an hour because we're all at different climates, and that also changes the baking of what we're making. So I will be back when I'm ready to put the syrup on this baklava, and the baklava is out of the oven. Thank you very much. Hello and welcome back. So as you can see, my baklava is ready. I have it in the oven for about an hour and 10 minutes until it was a little golden brown. Make sure it doesn't over brown because the phyllo dough becomes bitter and it doesn't taste as good. Now I have my syrup that's been cooled and I'm ready to pour it on. So I wanted to show you what that looks like. You hear that? Hear that sizzle? And that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that your syrup is cooled and your baklava is